Okay, we're looking good here this beginning. There are 1,000 cars out there. I don't know about justified. Okay, bye now.
High Community Quality Council, the monthly general meeting and call to order at 7:05. Flag salute. I'd like to ask RHCCC Treasurer Linda, could you lead us, please? And Mr. Flacker, yes, next year. Linda.
Allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Please be seated. RHCCC report, and I'd like to share with you a few things. Again, July 8th, we will have an annual barbecue right here at the community center, and start at 11 and to 3 o'clock, and that will be an opportunity for the community to meet with the representative who represent our community from federal level to state and county, and all of those representative offices is going to be here. We invite everyone, and they will have their staff or the representative themselves to meet with us, and they will bring a lot of information. I believe the county of Los Angeles will be have three or four booths, information booth to share with the community. So and plus the information and sharing, and we have entertainment, and of course barbecue, and we have food, and all free, and bring your friends, and looking forward to see everyone on July 8th. This meeting is the last meeting of this board, and in the past year, I'd like to thank you everyone for your support, and we got quite a few things done. One thing I'd like to share with you is the board approved or disapproved the several use permit, we call it COP, for the business, local business. And in the past year, we approved 6 of them, and then we reject 2. One is for massage parlor, and one is for margin place. And our board will vote to decide to not approve, and we send our decision to the county. And currently, we are looking into 2 COP applications. One is Aldi grocery store, and they propose a new location in Roland Heights at the corner of Albatross and Kojima, and I believe next to the Big Five, the shopping center. Yes, yes.
If they build that, are they going to build additional parking? It looks like there's sketchy parking.
Right, I believe they are using the existing parking, but there's no space for extra parking, the Aldi.
So, what does the county say about that?
We didn't say that. The COP approved at request for RHCCC to approve is for them to sell wine.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's the COP. Yeah.
I want an Audi with the parking.
Right. I want an Audi too, but I have the same concern because that piece of shopping center, the parking is very limited. Right. Very limited. So, but all other Audis and the other locations, their parking is not there. Not like
It's not super busy.
right. Not like other supermarket, then like Albertsons or like they have a huge.
So I guess people can park across the street at the mall because they have a lot of ample parking.
That's true. Yeah, then they don't get business if they do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand the county's gonna
Yeah.
have a stoplight
Mm-hmm.
when they widen the Claimant, so maybe people can cross the street there.
Yeah, we can, and when county,
Uh-huh.
and we still have chance to share our opinion to county, so we can, so anything, any concern, we'll pass your concern to county. We tell them.
Is somebody gonna be from the county road, public works,
Mm-hmm.
about, they're gonna,
Mhm.
construction on.
Yeah, if that's concern, I think I can invite them to a meeting and share with us how they do it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, good, yeah, thank you, Mr. All right.
Yeah, and now I do understand the business flow situation, that area of Roland Heights on that end with the mall and all that that goes on there. But as far as a space and parking, all that, where Big Lots would be ideal as far as the size of the store and
It's not
the
Big
park.
Lot.
Big Lots right down here, Colima and Nogales.
He's saying it's the place instead of.
That would be a place for them where parking would not be the
Obviously,
issue.
not Big Lots and the Big Five.
Huh?
Yeah, they're gonna be-
Yeah, I know that's Big Five down there. This was Big Lots down here. Okay?
Yeah. Mhm.
And it bring up the neighborhood down here too.
Okay, this is just a RCC report, so we can.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, and another thing I share with everyone is we are going to have a new board, and we still need people to join the new board. So if anyone interested, still have chance to let us know to join our board. Yeah. Okay, that's it. And I'd like to invite the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department, Claudia, for the report.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. We have our usual stats, which is our crimes that occurred in May. We had 6 robberies, 2 assault with a deadly weapon incidents, but our biggest thing again is our vehicle burglaries. So I read 7 reports just coming in here for May, and 5 out of those reports had a computer stolen from the back seat, which means that we're not doing our job to secure our property correctly in our cars. Just remember that if you pass by a car and you see a bag in there, everybody else could see it too, so just be cautious of that. I don't know if we've noticed that there's been an uprise in graffiti in the neighborhood. With those, please contact either myself or Deputy Denver, because we are tracking the graffiti that's being done in our community. We are getting it cleaned up by County Works, and we track it as to if one of our partners happens to pull over or stop somebody with a backpack and they find spray paint, they find maybe a notebook with their monikers on there, what they're tagging, we end up linking it to all the other taggings that have been in Roland Heights. As far as, I don't know if you guys saw the robberies that occurred. I don't know if anybody saw the one in Fullerton, and then one of our residents here on Ravenfall got pepper sprayed. Those incidents are being taken up by one of our specialized units. So the only suggestions that we have is that when you are exiting a bank, that you put all your belongings away before you come out of the bank. If you have a Bank of America or a Chase bank little bag where they give you your money, that you put it away prior to getting out. And if you get to a location and you feel that you are being followed by another vehicle, that you steer clear from your house, drive to a police station, drive to a fire station, anywhere else that is not your home. If you happen to get home and you see a car pull up behind you in your driveway and you see people get out that you don't know, stay in your car, call 911 or press your emergency on your car so your alarm goes off. That way everybody's aware that something's going on. And please just make sure that you are looking around when you're exiting a store, when you're exiting anywhere, that you are looking around, making sure that you're looking at your surroundings. The incident we had on Nogales and Tayseta, the bank manager actually went out and confronted this person, and because of that, he moved on to somewhere else. He still ended up robbing somebody somewhere else, but because he saw this person and he went straight to him and asked him if he needed any help, that prevented him from anyone there at the bank getting burglarized or robbed. Upcoming events that we have our monthly cleanup with the City of Industry and their deputies. We clean up the water embankment from the 60 on Fullerton all the way up to Colima. And coming up in August, we have our National Night Out coming. We are not sure yet where we're gonna have it, if it's gonna be either here or Caroline Rosas Park. And I'll let you guys know. Any questions, comments, concerns, ma'am?
Two things. I spoke to a watch commander about, well, there's that guy that's back again at the Jack in the Box.
Yes.
And I don't know where he goes, but then he shows up again, and he's in the sidewalk.
Yes, he's one of our regulars, yes.
And I called, and one time, I should have gotten her name, but it was a female that answered the, not the 911. And she was very upset. Well, what's he doing? You
Okay.
know, that kind of thing. And then when the guy came back, I asked the watch commander, everybody knows about this. And I even, put a request to the county to try to get that it's foul, the sidewalks taken.
Yes, yes,
So, and he was gone like for 1 day, 2 days.
Yes.
I don't know where he went.
so I think he just moves down the street on Colima somewhere, and then as soon as he feels it's clear, he'll go back to that same spot.
But
So we've
it's
called,
public.
yes, so we've called, we've put in a request for LA Hops for somebody can go and speak to him, and from the Homeless Coalition. We have yet to, I don't know if he doesn't want the help, or if they're not speaking to him, I'm not
He
sure.
used to be across the street.
Yes,
At Rite Aid.
Yes.
And then they put a letter,
And yes.
agency with you guys.
yes.
And he hasn't, is that
No.
one of his other little pals?
Yes, so not everyone wants a letter of agency. I don't know. We've gone to each business and asked and gave them the letter of agency and hey, this is what it does. If you have any other questions, you can contact us, but we need you to fill it out and give it to us so we have it on file and our deputies know they have it on file. And we do not get 100% feedback from the businesses.
Because that way you can just, if you come upon it, you can try to take care of it, right?
Yes, well,
You don't have to have it cost them.
they're technically trespassing, but they have to be on their property. So the sidewalk is not considered their property, and people are still able to walk by, so technically he's not covering he's not allowing people to pass by. People don't pass by because they're afraid of him. So there's been talk about him, we've discussed him before, we've talked to our Met team about him, because there's times that he's there and there's times that he's not there.
Well, he attracts other like-minded.
Yes.
And they're drinking
Yes.
everywhere, and then the trash just
Piles up, yes. And then he'll clean it up and he'll leave, and then he'll come right back. So yes, we were aware of him. Like I said, we put in a few requests for somebody to go speak to him, and
And the graffiti,
Mhm.
how about if it's on private property, is that Shell station, used to be Shell, I forgot the street, they wrote all over the outside of the covered up building, and then the gate was open.
is it on Fullerton?
No, it's on Colima,
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. The one,
yes, I think it's.
yes. So we go, we take the report, but if it's on private property and no one's there to let them in, then,
Well, I called the real estate agent.
okay, good.
Just because his sign is so small.
Yes, okay, good.
I parked down the street, and walked up there,
Yeah.
I called him up, and
Okay.
called back. And I told him all the two things, the papers were really behind, the bathrooms, your gates were open, thank you for cutting down the weeds. But, and then they paid for it.
Okay, good. When was the gate open? Do you remember? Next time you see it open, because it's not supposed to be open, if that's their private property.
Yeah, it was, I think whoever came to cut, just, and then it was locked.
Okay.
Lock was closed.
Mhm.
So I would think that,
Close it yourself.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, but I'll give you my card, and that way if you see it open again, you let us know and we'll take care of it, or contact the,
Yeah, cause I don't know, on Facebook, there's all kinds of different views, like, leave them alone.
Yeah, everybody has their opinions.
No, but that's how Dennis started,
Mm-hmm.
little person.
Yeah. No problem, ma'am. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Jeffrey, I have another question about the homeless. There's a homeless decking box that
Yes.
we have,
Mhm.
probably a little bit.
Mhm.
It's been there for quite a long time.
Yes.
So if they are not on private property, but they are on private, why couldn't you, interfere with them based on the ADA, American Disabilities?
Mm-hmm.
So the accessibility of using the entire sidewalk for the wheelchairs, they are camping like that.
Yes.
Sidewalk is only 5, 6 feet wide.
Mm-hmm.
And how can you force the wheelchair to this speed?
Yes, I agree, but you please understand that that is a citation. So we go and we contact them and we give them a ticket right there and then. They're not gonna go into the jail for that. The way the laws are now, it's gonna be a citation, he's gonna be issued a citation there, and then he'll have a court date, and then he'll either decide to go to court or not, and that's it, that's all we could do. And then as far as his property, like, we can't touch his property, cause that's his property.
So in the meantime, the wheelchair accessibility is non-existent on the.
I mean, there's a walking path that we've seen until somebody goes and removes them from there, and they move him along, and then he moves, and then he returns. And it's like the process all over again. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a mess. It's a struggle with them. It's a struggle, and we're really trying. These guys are getting reported to Alasha almost once a month. So it's just a matter of, but like I said, it's either they want the help or they don't want the help. We can't force them to get the help.
Most of them refuse to help.
Yes, yes. Most of them do refuse the help.
So what are we turning the community into? And we don't really want to get into like the Los Angeles, that's even the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
And on this outlying suburb community, we are getting into that situation in the last couple of decades.
Yes.
So at some point, we gotta say, hey, public accessibility is for the public good. That's how public agency can take over property for public good too, even on
So we try to get together with the businesses, because the businesses have the most lawful way to say, hey, you're trespassing on my property. And they get warned that they're trespassing, and then if they're there again, then it allows us to arrest on site. But as far as the sidewalk, the DAs are not gonna file on somebody blocking the sidewalk. We can go issue them these tickets every day, he's not gonna go into jail, and the DAs are not gonna file them, so it's pretty much a wash. Could we physically move them? No, we can't. I'm gonna be honest with you, we can't. That's just gonna have us get into force with them, so they could come right back.
So what
So
are
we
we
have to try different
expecting?
options.
Eventually, years on end, we just expect them to move away on their own, or?
No, but you're talking about one person right now. You're talking about one guy that's been there for, I don't know how long he used to be a Rolling Heights resident.
I know.
So, he's the one person that we've been having the most trouble with, getting him moved, because we've offered him services and he refuses. He's been moved from there before, and then it takes him a while, and then he returns right back to the same spot. So us, as law enforcement, our hands are kind of tied. We're issuing citations for the drinking in public, for having more than one cart, for the, whatever he's leaving on the sidewalk, but it's a citation on the field. He stays there, you turn that in, it doesn't get filed. So that's where our hands are tied. There's not much else we can do, but keep doing the same thing every day, in hopes that something's gonna happen.
Which is, he relocate on his own?
that somebody's gonna file. I mean, sir, understand, once we cite them, that's up to the point of our job, of our job duties. We can't force him to move.
This is more about our politicians.
We can't force them, like, we could take him to jail and then he'll be right back. He's been taken to jail before, multiple times.
In fact, this kind of it doesn't even relate to law enforcement. I think it's something else. It's
Yeah.
also welfare situation.
Yeah.
Health and sanitation issue.
I agree, so all we could do is keep putting in these requests at lahop.com, keep sending them in, because we're in hopes that somebody's gonna do something with this guy. Either they're gonna convince him to get the help, or they're gonna find him somewhere to go, something. But I feel your frustration. It's not only frustrating for you guys, it's frustrating for us that we're getting the same people like, that we're getting complaints about. And it's difficult.
I got a question.
Come on,
Sir.
Carrie.
Okay, at 2101 Eaton Ferry, it's at the corner of LaGuardia and Eaton Ferry. The police have shown up there numerous times at this house, and they've commented to other people on the block that this house is a real problem. Okay, but recently, a week ago, they showed up, and a car was parked backwards, it was on the wrong side of the street. And then later, there were two, but the police came, and they didn't tell these people they had to move their car. The car that was adjacent to it, or farther down the street, it looks like a car that people or somebody is living in once in a while. But anyway, this is one of those Airbnbs, and my question is, why didn't the police have these people at least move their cars so they could go in the right direction?
I can't tell you that, sir, I wasn't there. You can always call back the station and have somebody respond again, or talk to the watch sergeant or the watch commander and put in your concern, so that way they could send somebody back there.
And I think when it comes to the short-term rentals, maybe Ryan can help
Yes.
out there
What's gonna occur with those? Yeah, we're waiting on that too.
Thank you.
Okay, my name's Roy Humphreys, and by the way, everybody, I have a YouTube channel, just go to Roy Humphreys, and you see all the stuff that this gentleman's talking about, it's all there on video. And if you see something like this gentleman just said, do a video, get it to me, I'll put it on my YouTube channel and give you full credit. So everybody can get to see what's going on in our community. And anything that you like what the sheriff's doing, there's Brian Serrano right there with all the answers right there. And here's something that we need to have. And what went on in the 99-cent store parking lot? The manager was in tears because she kept getting the runaround, trying to call the sheriff's department about that RV, what's that, a 40-footer that was parked on their property? And I didn't take any action because I'm retiring from all this. I went a week on that commercial property, and finally I called the corporation for the second time. And by the way, go to my YouTube channel, the deputy sheriff's out there, 2 units, folks, and we got that thing out of there, blighting our community. So stand up and do something. And I say, send that stuff to me, I'll put it on my YouTube channel, get you full credit. So we need proactive parking enforcement on the, especially on the RVs. You know, on Sika and Bluffwood, that's what, we still got that one guy going there. And I was told on the Rolling Heights bus that the one that was on the 99-cent store is now on Daysetta parked over there. So that's what they on there on the sheriff. And when you call the sheriff's department, record them. Then you have some backup of who said what, and tell them you're recording them, because they're recording you every time. So folks, get out there, be proactive, and don't be afraid to stand up and do something and say something. Get it together. Thank you.
Anybody else? Questions, concerns, comments? Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you, Claudia, and thank you for sharing the information. And the next speaker, I'd like to invite California Highway Patrol Officer.
Good evening, everybody. Officer O'Toole with the Highway Patrol at the Santa Fe Spring Station. Couple quick things. June, is our click it or ticket month, so wear your seatbelts. It's not that we don't look for them at the end of 11 months out of the year. It's just that we have special enforcement details specifically monitoring seatbelt violations. So we'll have specific units out there monitoring this and tell family, friends. I mean, it should just be common practice, just like tying your shoes or whatever else, you know. It should be common practice, put it on. The Santa Fe Springs office is having a Start Smart program on Monday, June 19th at 6 p.m. at our station. Start Smart program is for teenage drivers or young drivers, ages 15 to 21 that want to start driving. We give them some helpful tips. We kind of scare them straight a little bit, if you want to call that, kind of give them some of the war stories that we've seen out there. But it's kind of a intro to driving to let them know the responsibilities that they require when they're driving. And the parents are allowed to come with them, sit with them, and kind of shake their head as they're nudge them during the class as they see CC. So some quick stats over the Memorial Day weekend, the Santa Fe Springs station itself, we had 706 calls for service. We issued 416 traffic citations, 89 verbal warnings. We impounded 32 vehicles. We arrested 22 DUI drivers off the road. 6 other arrests were non-DUI related. And we had 3 pursuits that went to the end, people didn't want to stop for. So we were busy. We had a maximum enforcement period. We had a new commissioner in our department, and he didn't even let the bosses off that weekend. So all our bosses, our top brass, all our sergeants, everybody was working that weekend. So he's trying to make a big change. He was even out there, not in our area, but he was out there driving patrol car writing tickets himself. So he's trying to lead from the front, as you would call it. So he's very proactive and wants to get us back out there and get us up to our staffing levels again and make a difference again. So, anybody have any questions, concerns, comments? Yes.
Catalytic converter, is that still going strong?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I saw in the news, I think it was today, that LAPD offers a program, I don't know what to call it, program or something that they'll stamp your VIN number in your Cadillac converter. You got to call for an appointment, but I don't know which stage. I just caught a real quick glimpse of it on the news. But LAPD is offering, if you want your Cadillac converter stamped with your VIN number, which kind of might deter somebody from taking it, they'll do that. I don't know if it's a charge. I don't know anything about it. I'm just relaying what I saw on the news. So, but it is still a hot item. And these guys are in and out real quick, and broad daylight, middle of the night, it doesn't matter. They have no shame. They have no care for the world. So, yes, sir.
That you know of, has there been any arrests of any individuals with catalytic converters, or are they kind of just getting away with it?
I can refer that to Deputy Maldonado.
Oh, okay, all right.
So, I don't know if you guys are aware that Walnut Station does the etching of your license plate on your catalytic converter. They do it maybe once a month at Calvary Chapel. So everybody's welcome to go. We've had quite a few Rolling Heights residents that go and do it. That we know of.
They have gone and done search warrants in multiple locations and have found catalytic converters with the license plate etched on them. So now they're being charged with receiving stolen property. So all the vendors of the catalytic converters are now like, okay, well, we can't take any catalytic converters with the etching of license plates on them. I mean, is there still gonna be some shops that take them? Of course, because they're worth a lot of money. But like I said, once a month, Walnut Station has, it's the deputies doing the etching on the catalytic converters at Calvary Chapel. All you have to do is look on the website for Walnut Station, and it'll give you the date. You call a number, you make an appointment, and you can bring as many cars as you want. It's free. You just have to go get in line.
Thank you.
Good idea.
Thank you for sharing that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Sir Bill. Next, I'd like to invite Ryan Serrano, representing the Los Angeles County's District 1 Field Facilities Supervisor.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ryan Serrano. I'm a senior field deputy with the Office of Supervisor Hilda Solis. And I just have a couple of items for you today. The first you'll find over at the table is a flyer for our Pride in the Park events. There's a couple left here in the Rolling Heights area. On June 15th, we'll have a Pride event at Carolyn Rosas Park, and then on the 22nd, we will be here at Pathfinder Park. If you're looking to celebrate Pride a little bit more throughout the San Gabriel Valley, well, we have another flyer here that has information on some of the other events taking place throughout San Gabriel Valley. It looks like we still have the SGV LGBTQ Plus Center hosting in El Monte on June 15th. There's another event in Pasadena on the 24th, in Baldwin Park on the 29th, and then right here next door neighbors in Hacienda Heights on June 30th. And then finally, we also brought our office hour flyer. We have it in English, Spanish, and Chinese. If you have any questions or concerns about the community, please feel free to reach out to us. We're ready and available for assistance. And yes, Roy.
Right. Okay, I just have a little laundry list here for you. You just make a mental note of something that we need. And I've been intentionally involved in this RV situation because of in my neighborhood and this 99-cent store situation. Done a lot of research, and a number of cities have it such that there's no parking on public streets, RVs, from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. This solves so many problems, okay? So we need tomorrow, and don't forget to tell the folks here, tomorrow morning, the County Board of Supervisors has their meeting, and you can attend it virtually and speak whatever you want to be speaking about. You know, tell it like it is, to the source of the problems. Oh, excuse me, I didn't say that. Okay, and to get the emergency ordinance on that RV situation. And the next thing, when can we look to see that those that burnout Martinez house on Otterbein taken down?
Yes, thank you for that, Roy. I did connect with the Department of Public Works. It does appear that the property is still in good standing as far as the actual structure. It's not going to fall on its own. So the department has connected with the property owners, and they've informed the department that they will be demolishing the building. Unfortunately, they did not provide a timetable, but I will circle back with the department and ask them if they can once again reach out.
And we would appreciate it if you inform me. I'll put that on the buzz, and I'll do a hallelujah video, okay, on that situation. And another situation that we had, and this just very briefly here, that myself and Ms. Quintana on Otterbein put out an effort as citizens to get the street cleaning done on the right by the Hialeah mobile park, where they've been parking cars for like forever on that.
Is that on Green Bay Drive?
No. So we put it out there, and we got paperwork back from Public Works and all that sort of, hey man, yada yada yada, I won't bore you with detail. And then we heard nothing. And so the next thing I found out, because I did some research, that project in and of itself, 6 months. If you have a major project, it can take a year or more because there are all kinds of loops you have to jump through and research and so forth on that. And then I find out, I contact James Yang here, he says, hey man, we got this whole thing going here. And I said, did you bother? A little courtesy for the people, the citizens, and you can tell from what goes on here in Roland Heights historically, for somebody to stand up and actually do something, and they don't have the courtesy, the respect to go to those individuals, hey guys, we're going to make this a big project, and we should out. They've had it here at the coordinating council meeting, and the stuff that's up on the Roland Heights Buzz and other situations. So I put forth to the supervisors, and I'll do it again tomorrow, that James Yang, Carrie Barnett, and the gentleman over at Baldwin Park Roads chief over there, that they be allowed to have 2 months off without pay, so they can have a nice vacation. To think about having some just fundamentals of respect. You know, it isn't much. I think we deserve it, and you might even get people here interested in doing things. So, and that's it. There are other things, but just go on my YouTube channel and you'll see it all. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
On the Martinez property, does that apply to both the houses?
Yes.
29 and Audubon?
That's correct.
Because they're not salvageable.
Not that they're salvageable, but they're currently not in any danger to the community as far as them, falling independent. So what they have stated is that they will allow the owners to demolish as they have informed us.
Just a little add-on, Carlos, who lives right next door to the big one on Audubon, he said that they got the transits going in and out of there all the time. Just a little add-on.
So on that, I know we've heard from Deputy Maldonado that there's been some issues with LA Hop, but that is still the best course of action. For anything in the county, the best way to get something addressed is to let us know. And
Yeah.
so,
Thank you.
regardless if the issue persists, it's still the best course of action. I did receive an email from Deputy Denver and Maldonado informing us of these locations, and I will be reaching out to Union Station to verify that outreach will be conducted at these locations.
Thank
I
you.
got a question for you.
Yes, Bruce.
On short-term rentals that was brought up in the past, and you're gonna be, voting on that with the, council, yes. Could you briefly describe for us unhosted and hosted short-term rentals, what the difference is and what they're allowed to do?
So as far as my understanding of the language that has not been presented yet to the Board of Supervisors, the ordinance that is being proposed, if it passes, you would no longer be allowed to have short-term rentals unless you are on the vicinity. So you would have to live in the house. So now I know some folks, they have, you know, the Airbnb and they live in the back house, or there might be an ADU that you just added to your home. You would have to be a resident in the home in order to put it up as a short-term rental. That's the long and short of it, and I do believe there's also language included to help with enforcement on that piece as well.
Okay, great, okay. And I got one more question for you, I hope you'll like my question. You ready? Okay, today you're wearing some nice shoes. The past 2 times I've seen you, you've worn shoes that look more like gloves than shoes. Could you tell us why you wear glove or shoes that look like gloves instead of nice shoes? Like
Sure, that's a great question, and I really appreciate it because it often, those shoes are a conversation starter. So if you do happen to see me here, dressed like my colleague here in our county jacket and kind of more of a ready to go out in the community vibe, I usually have these toe shoes, where each individual toe goes into its own separate house. I like to keep my toes segregated because they don't like each other. But in all seriousness, they do help with arch support and keeping you on your toes, which Roy is always doing. So, thank you.
One question.
Yes. David.
Should we be concerned, like what happened in Hacienda Heights with the Motel 6, making it permanent housing, because we did have, during COVID, homeless here in our community. Is there anything down the road that may happen in our community? And would you, if it is, would you let RHCC know ahead of time so we could?
Most definitely. I don't.
Ryan, could you repeat the question?
Yes. So David asked if there's any plans for, and I would imagine you're asking because you are in favor of having something along these lines.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There are some issues related to our homeless on the streets. As Deputy Maldonado shared, they do extensive outreach and they attempt to provide services to our unhoused individuals. Unfortunately, if we do not have a bed to offer them, we cannot force them to go down the street or go down to Walnut or go to in the street. The fact of the matter is that because of the Ninth Circuit of Appeals Court ruling, the Boise ruling, for if you want to Google it, you cannot force somebody out of a location unless they have been offered a bed and they denied it. Meaning you have all the services that they would need in order to come inside, but because of their own fruition, they decided not to come inside. Now, after you have those things in place so you can offer those things and they say no, then by all means, the deputy would be more than within her rights to ask this person to move along. Unfortunately, the San Gabriel Valley as a whole, not just here in Rolling Heights, but throughout the entire San Gabriel Valley, is severely, severely low on not just permanent supportive housing beds, but interim shelter beds, shelter overnight beds. We need many, many beds in the community in order to be able to properly police the situation.
What about the ones that are mentally ill? I mean, if you ask them, what do you do?
So on that front, I know with Care Court, which is Governor Newsom's plan that he shared during the middle of the pandemic, that's still being ironed out with the details at the county level. That's supposed to provide assistance for some of our lower acuity mentally disabled or mentally, for the most part, people that are, schizophrenic, or they hear voices, or, in this instance of the gentleman at Jack in the Box, on some days he's a little bit better than others, but some days it seems a little bit more dangerous, right? In that instance, there would be this care court which creates the opportunity for a conservatorship, and that would be through the court. Now, I'll caveat that with saying that it's not forcing anybody to do anything, it's more forceful nudge in the right direction, but they believe that this care court will help to address a lot of those issues regarding the homeless that are experiencing mental health issues.
But that's a big percentage, but if you ask them, please, they don't want to.
So the point in time count will be coming out in the near future, and it'll share some of this information, but it's not as, maybe they're the visible ones, but a great majority of those experiencing homelessness, close to 60%, are working a job and or living in their vehicle and or going to school. So a lot of the people experiencing homelessness are experiencing homelessness because they, through no fault of their own, just cannot afford rent anymore. Even with just a 3% increase, unfortunately, a lot of our seniors in the community are becoming homeless because they are on fixed income and they can't, make that determination between their medication and their rent, right? Or food or rent. When you're on fixed income, and we know with the federal government, they just, for the first time in 7 years, I believe, received an increase in funds. Unfortunately, we also know that we were at an all-time high with regard to inflation. And so, even though that raise was appreciated, it still wasn't enough. And now we're seeing with the eviction moratoriums no longer in place, lots of our senior community are ending up on the street.
Ryan, would you share with us the definition of homeless? Because that was a little bit confusing. For regular people, we consider homeless are the individual or family who live on the street. However, some definition of homeless is not. For family or individual live in garage or live in a homeless type of mountain, you consider homeless. For example, Rolling Unified, we consider we have 2,000, near 2,000 students are homeless. So the definition of homeless is.
So I think with students, it's a little bit different. I believe with students that are experiencing homelessness, if they are couch surfing, that would be considered a person experiencing homelessness. However, I believe there's various definitions depending on what level of homelessness you're in. Right? So if you're in an RV versus if you're living in your car, it's various. I'd love to give you a more stamped down definition. It's just, it depends on the agency, to be honest.
So the definition of homeless, the county definition and the school district, are they same or is it different?
I believe they're a little bit different just because of the population that the school district deals with, since it is students. Obviously, if a child was experiencing homelessness out on the street, they would more likely than not be entered into the Department of Children and Family Services. So it's just different delineations for different agencies.
And just one last, very quick.
One second, let me
Oh,
ask
one
this
second.
gentleman right here first, and then I'll get back to you.
Yeah, what type of homelessness goes to the county counts that they do yearly?
I'm sorry.
The LA County does a count of homelessness.
Yes.
In the county every year. So
What types of homelessness would be part of that count?
So the way that they usually do the count is, it's a point in time count. So they pick a date and then they saturate the entire county. So depending on, like, for instance, here in Rolling Heights, we had ours, I believe, it was the first day of the count, right? The 24th, and they did it 24th, 25th, 26th. They have people go out, and it's a site-only count. They work with a consulting agency that creates an algorithm to identify, they believe, those individuals that aren't necessarily visible or aren't necessarily actually counted on the day of. And they believe using this algorithm helps them to determine the true number of homeless in the county.
So it's like an extrapolation. An extrapolation.
Yes, sir. Right.
And just very quickly, and this is Sheriff Villanueva, this is not me, that he came up, part of his re-election platform was that the county develop a system of transient campsites. So like the guy on the street, hey, we got a place for you, and then you can focus your county services at a single location.
Where would we put them, Ryan?
Oh, Mark Vane and Colima. Beautiful open space.
Are you going to support that?
Of course.
Yeah?
We've got to. And most people here don't know what's coming down from Sacramento, and you do. It's ugly. Okay? We've got to deal with it.
Well, Roy, I think that's a little disingenuous because, as you see, we have Motel 6 on 7th Street that's going to be permanent supportive housing for folks, and everybody is up in arms with misinformation.
No, not everybody. For me, it has to be done. I'm looking for you to come over here to the Quality Inn in Rolling Heights. That's the next step.
I'm gonna hold you to that, Roy.
Okay.
I'm gonna have you knocking on doors, getting support for this.
Hey, no, you got to do what you got to do. You go around taking an opinion poll. It's NIMBY. Forget about it. You got to do what you got to do.
Thank you, Roy. Alrighty. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Okay, next speaker, I think, Ramon. And Ramon is representing Assembly Member Lisa Calvert. Hello, my name is Ramon Quinn. I'm here on behalf of Assembly Member Lisa Calderon. I'm her senior field representative and her caseworker. So I just want to come and provide a legislative update on some of the bills that my boss is working on. Most of the, about say over a dozen of her bills left the House of Origin from the Assembly to the Senate. So they're moving pretty quickly in the state legislature. So one bill I want to highlight is AB 1015, and this is the diaper and wipe distribution program. It's currently on the Senate Committee of Human Services. So what it aims to do is to expand the diaper bank program to all 58 counties in California to ensure diapers and wipes are accessible statewide and offering consistent access. The second bill I'm looking to reflect on is AB 527, which is the Urban Forestry School Greening Projects grants. So that bill, if passed, would establish a school greening grant program which would award grants to local school education agencies, nonprofits, cities, and special districts that support K-12 school greening efforts. And the last bill that I'm going to touch on is AB 384, which is the recommended interior temperatures for school facilities. So that would require the California Department of Education to conduct a study on safe indoor temperature ranges in public schools and for school heating and cooling systems. And then, I talked to Carrie or email, and they confirmed that we'll be there at the barbecue on July 8th. We're gonna see if my boss will come out. I know she might have some conflicting events, but I'll go ahead and confirm with you as soon as I can. And then, other than that, I believe the state legislature, they're working on passing the budget by Friday before they bring it up to the governor. So if you have any questions or comments, I'm over here. How can I help you? Yes.
Is that me you're looking at?
Yeah, you, Roy. Sorry.
Okay, very quickly here.
Okay.
For everybody here, there's a publication, you do it online, it's called Cal Matters, just like it was awesome. It had the budget out there, and you can go through it. It's a beautiful thing out there. But what we want to address specifically here is to have the Assemblywoman start with having a penal code change that's, I believe it's called 4,000, have it amended so that each county can have the choice of having the jail/prison controlled either by a corrections department or coming under the sheriffs. What the historically huge problem is the sheriffs and the jails. And that's what got Baca and Tanaka put in federal penitentiary. And of course, the jails in Los Angeles County have been historic. We don't want to even go there. That's how ugly it is. But to get that penal code changed, my brother's a sheriff up in Washington. They changed it a long time ago, got the jails away from the sheriff's department, and life is so much better. It's a whole different mentality of being a sheriff/law enforcement and being a corrections person. Can I depend on you? You got the ball? Run with it.
Okay, is there anything else? Thank you, Ramon, thank you very much. And thank you for joining annual barbecue on July 8th. Thank you. Okay, next the state senator Bob Archula's office is Kyle Mueller. It's Kyle, I don't see Kyle, so let's give that. And the next is the Linda Sanchez, Congresswoman Linda Sanchez's office representative. Rizada. It's not here either. So next is the Kerry Chen representing Road Unified School District. Okay, Road Unified School District celebrating the end of the school year, and by 3 high school graduations on July 1st, the Roland High School, Gilgala High School, and Santana High School. And we have near 1,000 graduates this year. They are very successful, and most of them they either had to go further study in college or take a career and start working. And either way, and we congratulate them, and they have very successful K-12 years. And the high school graduate this year, or the college graduate, they are bound for college bound. Quite a lot of them get admitted by the universities and receive scholarships like Bill Gates scholarship, and accepted by Howard, Yale, and UPenn, and many UC systems schools, and they are very successful, and wish all of them has a good, bright future. School year ended and summer school started, and we have thanks for the ELOP funding, and we have more funding to support our summer school. And this year we have more campuses offer more summer school program for 5 weeks, and the kids can keep study and keep learning different subjects in the summer. And wish everyone has a good summer and get ready for the new school year. That's it for my report, and next is the Mount Sac College.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, last month, an individual, I won't mention my name, brought before the school board a proposition that since you already have Zoom as a function for the school board meetings, that you make the link on your website so that persons who cannot watch it during that time can go back and review it, see what's going on. And number 2 was to make it interactive, so persons, just like any Zoom function, they can put their hand up and ask questions or whatever on that. Has the board made any movement on that, up or down?
No, the board had a study that was on the agenda on the last board meeting, and the board decided to ask the superintendent and her staff to have the study the cost and all affected for the.
Can we look forward to it on this Thursday's meeting to have a decision, thumbs up, thumbs down?
You need to contact superintendent's office, and she will give you more information.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, at Roland High School, in front of the high school where the students get let off to go to school. It can take 10 minutes to go from one corner to another. And you don't have any police force, you don't have any crossing guards. Kids are jaywalking, it's dangerous. So I'm asking that you have somebody look into it, maybe they could improve the traffic there.
Yeah, so we, 4 years ago, and we had made the significant change to the camera security. We changed our camera security from our own police, and we contract one station for guarding our schools. So for each high school, Jordan High School and Uganda High School, and county sheriff has one patrol car stay in the campus, and they are the one guarding the school and watch the safety of the kids.
Okay, you have one car on the premises, but that's to make sure everybody's secure inside. And you don't wanna take him away because he's got a gun and he's gonna protect the students. I'm talking about outside as they approach the school.
The patrol car is outside.
Okay, but
The patrol outside.
you don't wanna leave in his main location, which is inside.
He's talking about the traffic when,
I know.
in the morning.
In the morning,
Maybe
yeah.
there's crossing guard or something.
Yeah, there's no crossing guard, only elementary school and junior high school has a crossing guard.
Maybe a highway patrol can go around, maybe.
Okay, I will pass your comments to the administration office, and we may add more. The schools will have the security, the yellow shirt security, and they will patrol and make sure there's no jaywalkers.
Harry,
Yeah.
simple solution. At the crosswalk, put those lights up, the person pushes the button, guys stop, they do their crosswalk. Simple solution.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Bruce. Okay, so let's move to the speaker tonight, the Hills for Everyone. Claire? Yes, and let me turn on the computer and have a seat here. And Claire, would you introduce yourself
Hello, thank you for inviting me here. It's been a while. I just want to say that you guys have a great community here with all of the engagements. I've been coming off and on to these meetings for a long time, and I've just always been impressed with the activism that I've seen here. So let's get this started. I like it. Now, make sure you're seeing the same thing I'm seeing here. Isn't that a cool picture? That's from like the 91-55 intersection. So I'm Executive Director of Hills for Everyone, and we are the founders of Chino Hills State Park. And we are now working and have been working for the last 25 years or so, saving the land across the hills, including Rowland Heights. Tonight I'll cover 3 topics. First, why this area was chosen for a state park and worthy of further conservation dollars. Second, how the park came about. And third, what is left to be done. I want to first orient you as to where we are and what we're talking about. The Puente Chino Hills are roughly bounded by the 60 freeway on the north, the 605 on the west, the 71 on the east, and the 91 Imperial Whittier Boulevard on the south. It may come as a surprise to you that we live in a remarkable region on this little planet of ours. Even though we like to think of ourselves as innovative and cutting edge here in California, the fact is we live in an ancient landscape, old and rich. It's old because no glaciers scrape their way across the terrain here, leaving the bedrock lifeless upon their retreat. The plants and animals that live here with us have had a long time to evolve. That gift of time gave them a chance to differentiate into an astonishing array of species. And as an example, this is a Tecate cypress tree. A remnant population hangs on at the juncture of the 91 and 241 freeways, and 1 million years ago, the entire Southwest was a Tecate cypress forest. Throw in the warm Mediterranean climate, and you have both a crucible and an Eden for rare and unusual life forms. The gift of geologic uncertainty in the form of earthquakes provided the many opportunities for mobility. This calliope of movement and change created hills, mountains, and slopes that allowed plants and animals to move around, establishing new niches, creating lots of endemic species. These are species found nowhere else. These are some of the reasons why Iowa has no endemic species for Iowa, and California has 2,100, over 2,100. In California, we live atop rocks that are 9 million years old, and some that were compressed into a new form with the last earthquake. Biologists assure us there is no other region of comparable size in the nation that has greater biodiversity than we have right here in Southern California. Indeed, it is second only to the rainforest. This region is considered a global hotspot of biodiversity, a place rich in species but threatened by development. Our hills lie smack dab in the middle of this remarkable landscape. Local lore maintains that untold treasures lie still buried in the canyons and foothills, but in reality, the treasures lie above ground, in the streams, in the grasslands, and in the oak and woodland forests. Some of our neighbors include the bobcat, nicely posed here, deer, coyote, who are the housekeepers of the hills, keeping the rodent population down, roadrunner, nemesis of the coyote, as we all know, burrowing owls. They nest in burrows that other animals have made. One measure of the remaining wildness of our region is the ongoing presence of golden eagles. This photo was taken from a backyard in Yorba Linda. When the rainfall is just right, poppies and wildflowers abound. So what can you do in the state park? You can camp, horseback ride, mountain bike, you can go on a nature walk, or you can just unwind and take in the views. Now let's talk about our history. So what does it take to create a state park? Basically, it takes someone to stand up and say, I love this land and I want to save it. In the case of Chino Hills State Park, it was a young man named Dave Myers. He grew up in La Habra, hiking the hills and learning about them as he did. One day he just ran into one too many bulldozers, tearing up one too many ridge lines, and decided that he needed to do something about it. And looking at a map, he saw that 4 counties come together in these hills: Los Angeles, San Bernardino, Riverside, and Orange. And he thought about creating 4 regional parks, but decided that was just too complicated. So he focused on creating a state park. In looking at the state resource code, he saw that the purpose of a state park is preservation of the natural resources, and that is what he was after. There are other kinds of units in the state park system, like state beaches, state recreation areas, and state historic parks like Pio Pico, but Dave wanted a traditional state park. With preservation as the highest value, only those uses that promote further understanding of or enjoyment are to be allowed. Recreation is secondary to preservation. Our supporters set about doing their homework and building their case. Agencies like the Department of Parks and Recreation need justification for spending money, like establishing a whole new park. Dave took on the task. He learned state parks was trying to save representative slices of California. And it turns out that our kind of landscape was not well represented in the state park system. The state has protected a lot of redwood forests and beaches, but not much grassland, chaparral, or oak forests. In addition, our effort coincided with on the heels of the oil embargo of the 1970s, and the state wanted to provide more parks closer to people and more parks closer to disadvantaged areas. In 1977, with the threat of an international airport looming, local cities joined in to help convince the state legislature to require the Department of Parks and Recreation to conduct a feasibility study. This study would determine whether or not these hills were worthy of state protection, and Dave was very active in the documentation for this study. He even designed the park. He designed it in a new way. He designed it along ridgeline boundaries, so that once the visitor was inside the park, they were protected from the sights and sounds of urban life, and so the streams could remain unpolluted for wildlife. Dave got involved in the planning processes surrounding the park, and he gave slideshows to anyone who would listen. Here we are conducting a press conference. Through the years, we learned what it takes to get something done with government. It takes the public to be engaged, like you here are in Roland Heights. It takes elected officials directing their staff to prioritize it, and it takes departmental staff to agree with it. This is what the park looks like now. Over the next 30 years, the park filled in with a steady stream of acquisitions pieced together like a quilt. This has been the most complicated and expensive state park in history, and it now protects over 14,000 acres. Other areas in the region have also been protected. The park has acted like a magnet for other entities to save land next to it, so it continues to grow. Only a few ridgelines are left, and they're all in the city of Chino Hills, and we are working on funding to buy those with purchase and sale agreements in place with most of them. Finally, as our understanding unfolds, we have learned there is more work to be done to secure the future of this region's natural lands. In the mid-1970s, I read this book, Song of the Dodo, by David Quammen. He's a frequent writer for National Geographic. He describes how our landscapes, and particularly our protected parklands, are becoming islands, fragmented by human activity. As a result of reading this book, I learned that everything we had worked for was at risk unless we made the park functionally bigger by connecting it to other open spaces, and so our view got bigger. Quammen uses the metaphor of a Persian rug. If you cut it up into a bunch of equal pieces, you still have fabric-like stuff, but it is no longer a Persian rug, and it's beginning to fall apart. Over the years, we glibly described the park as an island of beauty in a sea of urbanization, which it was. But the wildlife can't survive on an island that is so small that they have to date their cousins. The book describes the new science of conservation biology. Parklands need to be big enough to accommodate the largest animals. Otherwise, over time, they will die out due to inbreeding. He warns that our conserved lands are not big enough to sustain the suite of species that belong there, and we need to reconnect them through wildlife corridors. Quammen makes it clear that we need to make it big enough to accommodate the needs of the highest predator, and for us, that is a cougar. To the best of our knowledge, we have one resident in the hills and some transients. They are nothing to mess with. They can jump a 6-foot fence with a deer in their mouth. Scary though they are, we need the cougar to maintain the health of the whole system. We need the suite of species that nature intended for the area, and this is why. Here's our simple little ecosystem. Without the cougar, we have an explosion of mid-level predators like skunks, possums, and raccoons. They are much better raiders of bird nests, and so they eat the bird eggs. Without the birds, they eat There's no one left to distribute the plant seeds, and without that, the trees begin to die off. So over time, over a long time, the ecosystem collapses, and we're left with nothing but grasslands. So in the mid-1990s, our mission expanded from simply finishing the state park to instead working to connect the entire Puente Chino Hills together into a backbone and backdrop of open space. This effort extends from the 9171 freeway all the way over to the 605 and 660 in Whittier. Stepping back in time, Dave Myers and I had met with residents in Whittier because they wanted to know how we were achieving so much success. So we told them, draw a line on a map and work to save that land, and that's what they did. And so they've saved 4,000 acres on the west, and it's managed by the Habitat Authority. Over the years, nearly all of the jurisdictions have supported saving the hills. We formally partnered in the creation of the Wildlife Corridor Conservation Authority, otherwise known as WICA. The cities of Whittier, Brea, La Habra Heights, and Diamond Bar are members, along with Los Angeles County State Parks and the Mountains and Recreation Conservation Authority, along with 2 public members. A few years later, another group was formed called HOSAC, the Hillside Open Space Education Coalition, and its specific mission is to save Era's lands. They have set aside over $500,000 to fight for it. La Habra joined the cities of Whittier, La Habra Heights, and Brea, and the communities of Hacienda Heights and Roland Heights have representatives on the board. Across the hills, we identified areas that needed to be saved because of their size. Era, in orange, is one of those, and Tonner Canyon, in yellow, is another. But we needed to save land for connectivity as well. It was obvious that the first place we needed to save was Coal Canyon. There was only one place left for wildlife to cross from the forest into our hills. Democrats and Republicans worked together with the landowner to fund the purchase of this land. This was the first time in state history that land was saved for its connectivity value alone. Then Senator Hilda Solis, who of course is now your supervisor, was instrumental in helping secure funds to buy Coal Canyon. The next place we took a look at was along Harbor Boulevard in La Habra Heights. Wildlife was trying to make a run for it across a 4-lane road and was up against cars going 50 miles an hour. They were not only dying, but causing accidents. Many agencies came together to find funding and build the underpass near the crest where Harbor Boulevard turns into Fullerton Road. It was the first wildlife crossing in Los Angeles County. Scientists did not expect wildlife to find it for 6 to 8 months, and they found it within weeks. One last major connection in securing the land under the 57 freeway at Tonner Canyon. Some of the land has been saved in the creek bed. Though the protected lands on our east and west are biologically connected still, the middle part of the corridor is not saved. We call it the missing middle. Era Energy, seen in orange, owns 3,000 acres, 2,700 of which lie in unincorporated LA County and the rest in unincorporated Orange County. Era proposed 3,600 acres of land on its land in 2002, but was turned down at the first hearing of CTAC, the Significant Ecological Area Technical Advisory Committee, back in early 2000s. Era then took its proposal to the city of Diamond Bar in 2005, where it languished. The project lay dormant until August of 2020, where it languished, where Era withdrew its project application just before the LA County Planning Commission was prepared to deny it for being inactive, outdated, and in violation of so many new policies. The East San Diego Valley Area Plan has been under development for many years and is nearing final approval. The latest version has proposed changing much of the zoning on Era's land to 1 unit per 40 acres. Chino Hills has a similar zoning, so it is not an unusual zoning in our region. This will go before the County Planning Commission, as I understand it, on August 9th. Public comments are expected to reopen in July, and we will all need your support, of course, to comment on this. The remaining 6,000 acres of natural lands, and I'm almost done, lies in Tonner Canyon. Upper Tonner Canyon, seen in pale yellow, is also known as Tres Hermanos. This land was once proposed to be a separate unit of the state park system, as 700 units lies in Diamond Bar and 1,750 lie in Chino Hills. When industry, the owner of Tres Hermanos, wanted to put a solar complex on the land, Diamond Bar and Chino Hills challenged them in court. Eventually, they reached a settlement agreement to co-own the land under the Tres Hermanos Conservation Authority. 2,500 acres of Middle Tonner Canyon in bright yellow was once owned by the Boy Scouts and is now owned by the City of Industry. It lies mostly in unincorporated Los Angeles County and is a significant ecological area because it has some of the best oak woodlands in the entire hillside system. Lower Tonner Canyon, also owned by industry, also in bright yellow, lies in unincorporated Orange County. The southernmost property has that critical wildlife crossing under the 57 freeway. While we have seen considerable success in saving our hills, there is much more to be done to make sure it remains a healthy ecosystem. The Era land has been nominated for funding under Governor Newsom's 30 by 30 plan to save 30% of California by 2030. But we need a willing seller, and we have not arrived there. If the land changes zoning from 1 to 40 units, it will really help along the way. We are deeply appreciative of your community's effort on that front. And that is the end of my presentation, and I'm willing to answer any questions you may have. Roy?
What part of this Era oil turf, if you will, has been discussed? I'll just give you two scenarios that I know a little bit about that Diamond Bar has put forth through LAFCO proposal for annexing a portion of Era oil turf over there, and you probably are very familiar with it, how many houses and stuff, what they're planning on doing on that. Are you familiar with that aspect?
Not, there was the old annexation effort back when there was a 3,600 unit proposal that's over by Bray Canyon Road.
This is something more recent.
Okay, so I'm not familiar with that.
Something that was on the Buzz Allen point to the person up there, that about a landfill, that BK landfill is purchasing an area there. Do you know anything about that?
No, I don't.
They're talking with the city of Diamond Bar, the oil company, and they want to incorporate Diamond Bar, incorporate then we go to. So the county has no authority over it, they want to talk about.
Right. Well, that would be the case.
That's what they're talking about. So
The entire 2,700 acres, or a portion of the 2,700 acres?
They're talking on debates this time.
Right.
So the Diamond Bar incorporates it, and they're gonna go to home.
Can I interrupt you, because I gotta go. Okay, latest rumor, now this is total rumor, it could be a big lie, which I'm more than willing to disseminate. Okay, that Diamond Bar is pulling back on that because Los Angeles County, where are they on something, has put the divorce settlement, the payback huge on it. But again, how things play out in the end is what it's all about. So I gotta thank you very much.
Where can you get a copy of this proposal?